afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm gonna present Veeam Availability Suite version 9.5. So, in this event, magkakaroon po tayo ng quick background lang po about kay Veeam 9.5 since nailabas na yung version 10, which is ipepresent mamaya ng ka-teammate ko na si John Daniel Capuno. So, by the way, I'm Jason Nicolas Prodente, Technical Support Engineer at WSI under Veeam. So, I'm here with Sophia Nicole Ramos, Technical Support also under Veeam, and our Sales Executive, which is Ms. Ramona Cornejo. So, as a background, Veeam is a disaster and recovery solution availability for all workloads. Supported ni Veeam or binabackup ni Veeam is yung mga nasa virtual environment, physical, and meron din siya integration with cloud environments. For the virtual environment, as long as it's on VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V, and Nutanix AHV, kaya nitong i-backup ni Veeam. Then for the physical environment naman, with an OS of Windows, Linux, and yung mga IBX natin which is AIX and Oracle Solaris, pwede natin siyang i-backup. Then for the cloud workloads, may mga integration si Veeam with AWS, Azure, and Azure Stack. So, discuss ko po muna ngayon, sir, yung products ni Veeam. For the virtual workloads, meron si Veeam which is yung pinaka-control console niya, which is the Veeam Backup and Replication. Then, for monitoring tool, meron din naman ginagamit si Veeam na, which is yung product na rin is yung Veeam 1. As you can see, may other two products si Veeam, which is yung Veeam Availability Suite and Veeam Backup Essential. Under these two products, this is a bundled product. So kung bumili si client ng Veeam Availability Suite, automatic meron na siyang Veeam Backup and Replication for the console and Veeam for monitoring. Same with Veeam Backup Essential. So ang difference lang na itong two products na to is si Veeam Availability Suite is for enterprise level, which is for 7 socket and above, which is physical processor socket, while Veeam Backup Essential is for SMB lang, which is 6 sockets below. So kung si client naman, ayaw niya na monitoring tool, gusto niya lang is yung backup and replication lang, pwede natin siyang bentahan, which is yung a la carte na Veeam Backup and Replication. Then merong baby product si Veeam, which is yung Veeam Availability for Nutanix AHV. So when it comes to virtual workloads, mapapansin nyo, si Veeam is built for virtualization. So agentless yung pagbabackup niya ng mga nasa virtual environment natin. While in physical workloads, kailangan natin ng Veeam agent for Windows, Linux, agent AIX, and Oracle Solaris. So sa pag may physical workloads tayo, i-install natin siya ng agent. So Veeam Backup and Replication Console may detect those physical workloads. Then for another monitoring management, meron siyang Veeam Management Pack for Microsoft System Center. Then the last for the cloud workloads, meron siyang Veeam Backup for O365, which means kaya nang i-backup ni Veeam yung mga nasa O365 natin. Included dito yung Exchange, SharePoint, and OneDrive. Then the last one is yung integration niya with Microsoft Azure, AWS, and IBM Cloud Storage. Let's proceed. Meron 5 key capabilities si Veeam. So first one is yung high-speed recovery. Si Veeam is patented for the instant VM recovery. So kung maririnig nyo man sa ibang product na backup solution, meron silang instant VM recovery. Si Veeam yung pinaka-nag-create nung technology na to. What happened in the instant VM recovery? So for the technical side, once na binackup natin yung certain VMs, so what happened when pag nagkaroon ng problem dun sa VM na yun in the production? So in the legacy, para mabuhay natin yung VM na yun is from the storage, imamigrate natin siya pabalik sa production bago siya i-up nung application na yun. But with the instant VM recovery, dun pa lang sa repository natin or dun sa pinaglagyan ng backup, pwede niya nang i-up yung backup na yun in less than 5 minutes. So bababa yung RTO natin. Then meron si Veeam na instant file level recovery, which is dito papasok yung granular restoration. Example, certain file may nabura, pwedeng i-restore yun using the instant file level recovery with Veeam. Then may mga integration si Veeam with with other storage brand. Sample is for HPE, Dell, NetApp, IBM, and Nimble Storage. With the Veeam Explorer for storage snapshots, may mga snapshots na ginagawa si storage natin sa mga VMs natin. So with the Veeam Storage Snapshot, pwede nang gamitin ni Veeam para gawin niyang basis or snapshot before i-backup yung mga certain VMs. Then, kung nako-confuse po kayo, si Veeam is storage agnostic. Kahit anong storage pwede sa kanya, since application na si Veeam, as long as present lang natin yung repository dun sa mismong BBR console, then meron lang siya mga certain integration with the storage snapshots or storage brand. Then meron siyang direct restore to Microsoft Azure, Azure Stack, and AWS Clouds. The next is the Veeam Explorer. So si Veeam meron siyang Veeam Explorer for Active Directory, Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, and Oracle database. So I give an example with the Microsoft Active Directory. So if the certain VM meron siyang lamang Active Directory, then binackup siya using Veeam. So in the production ng Active Directory, may certain user tayong nabura. For the legacy, ang ginagawa kasi is re-restore yung buong VM just to recover the certain person or the certain user. But with the Veeam Explorer for Microsoft Active Directory, pwede nating i-restore yung certain user lang na yon. Same with Exchange. If the VM is may Exchange application siya, once na backup siya, pwede nating i-restore yung certain email lang. So example, deleted yung today's email, then wala na talaga pero na-backup siya. Pwede natin siyang i-restore, hindi na yung buong Exchange, just the certain email lang. So I proceed. For the data loss avoidance, with other competitor, si Veeam is 2-in-1 backup and replication na. So sa other competitor, backup and replication, separate license. So si Veeam, yung license mo is good for backup and replication na siya. Then meron din si Veeam, ino-offer si Veeam na Veeam Cloud Connect. Then as I discussed kanina sir, meron siyang backup from storage snapshots. Then yung Veeam plugin for SAP HANA and Oracle Arman. Then meron bago si Veeam ngayon is yung network attached storage backup. So later on the version 10, i-explain po siya ng ka-team ko na si John Digel Capuno. For the verified recoverability naman, merong sure backup and sure replica. For the security of the backup natin na nag-i-store dun sa repository natin, may ginagawang sure backup si Veeam. Which is niraran lang to every 6 months to ensure na yung backup natin is good to recover pa ba. Then meron din siyang secure restore, which means before natin i-restore yung certain VM, dadaan muna natin siya sa isang antivirus to secure before natin siya is totally restore. Then sa leverage data naman po, meron si Veeam na on-demand sandbox, which means once na binackup yung certain VM, pwede natin siyang gawa ng testing environment using Veeam. So ang mangyayari dito is, once na binackup natin production, then may gagawin tayong installation doon sa production VM, possible na magkaroon ng problem or issue. So with the use of on-demand sandbox by Veeam, pwede natin gawin to for the testing environment, isolated siya. So kung ano man yung mangyayari doon sa on-demand sandbox natin, hindi siya makaka-effect doon sa production natin. Then for the stage restore, may mga VMs na confidential na binackup natin. So before natin i-restore, pwede nating i-exclude yung mga certain files na laman ng VM na binackup bago natin na siya totally i-restore.
Ano yung ginagawa mo?
Then for the complete visibility, Veeam Backup and Replication Console, which is yung pinaka-console niya. Dito ginagawa yung backup job and replication job. Then meron tayong Veeam Agent for Physical, which is meron din siyang sariling console. Then the last one is yung Veeam 1 for monitoring tool. So for the Veeam Agents, as I discussed kanina, yung mga features na yun is for virtual environment. While this part is for the physical environment naman. Sa features niya, meron siyang active and synthetic full backup. So pwede siyang gumawa ng separate na full backup na ira-run manually and scheduled. Then meron tayong scheduling and retention. So for the scheduling and retention, kung gumawa tayo ng backup job ngayon, pwede natin siyang i-run after work hours. So it doesn't affect the network of the environment. Then meron tayong integration with Veeam Backup and Replication. So si Veeam Agent, standalone siya. So pwede siyang standalone, install natin sa physical server, then magbabackup siya ng sarili niya. Then meron din siya integration with Veeam Backup and Replication Console. So kung may console tayo, then pwede natin gawing push through installation para hindi na tayo pumunta din sa mismong physical server or application na iba-backup. Then for the application item recovery, yung Veeam Explorer for Microsoft Active Directory, applicable din siya for the physical environment. Then the fourth one is application item recovery, instant recovery to Hyper-V VM. So kung si Veeam binackup niya yung mga physical environment natin to physical environment, pwede niya itong i-restore or migration na papunta kay Hyper-V or kay VMware. Then for the functions, merong backup sa functions ni Veeam when it comes to physical environment. Sa backup niya is pwede siyang entire system image. Pwede rin specific volumes and individual or directories lang. So for the restoration naman, kung nakapag-backup siya ng entire system image, pwede tayo mag-bare metal restoration. Then pwede rin tayo mag-restore to new or original location. Make sure lang na yung new location natin is higher from the previous. So as you can see, ito po yung mga supported platforms ni Veeam when it comes to physical environment. So sa VMware, ito yung mga platform na supported niya. Then for the Hyper-V, as long as updated naman siya, supported siya ni Veeam. Then for Nutanix CHV. For the supported platforms in physical workloads, ang lowest version niya for the Windows physical server is yung Windows Server 2008 R2 SP1. And for the latest version, supported naman siya ni Veeam. Same with the Oracle or Linux, andyan po yung mga supported platforms ni Veeam. So this part is I'm talking about the architecture. As default, si Veeam Backup Server, Veeam Backup Proxy, and Backup Repository is nasa sa iisang machine lang siya. So si Veeam is an application. So pwede siya sa kahit anong physical server. So may requirements lang siya before the installation. Pero kung tatanungin nyo is kung compatible ba siya sa ganitong server, as long as may Windows OS siya, pwede nating installan yun ng Veeam. Then si Backup Proxy, siya yung tatrabaho ng compression and deduplication para makompress yung file, then tsaka niya i-restore to a backup repository. So as an example, from the hypervisor, sa either VMware or Hyper-V, punta siya kay Veeam Backup Server, then ilalagay niya sa, itatrabawin ni Backup Proxy yung compression and deduplication, lalagay niya sa repository, then choose na lang po ni client if i-archive pa ba nila to tape. Then for the replication part, dito naman is host to host yung nag-uusap. So VMware to VMware, Hyper-V to Hyper-V. So ginagamit siya for DR purposes. Then the last part is yung Veeam Backup to Cloud, Veeam Backup to Cloud. So in this part, from on-prem, pwede natin siyang i-restore direct to cloud. So for this slide, i-discuss ko naman po yung backup methods ni Veeam. So may tatlong backup methods na ginagamit si Veeam. First one is yung forward incremental or yung forever forward incremental. So in this part, first day, lagi siyang full backup and the rest incremental na lang siya. Then sa restore point, dun magbe-base kung gaano karami yung gagawin niyang retention points. Kung sinet natin siya ng 3, hanggang 3 lang yung madedetect na repository natin. Then once na mag-exceed siya or magkaroon ng panibagong incremental, yung unang-unang incremental natin, mag-merge siya dun sa full backup, then siya na yung mag-act as full backup natin. Then the next one is yung forward incremental. This backup method, gumagawa ng backup chain si Veeam bago ko mag-create ng another full backup. Then ang downside lang na itong backup method na to is dalawang full backup yung makikita natin sa storage natin, which is masyadong malaki for the consumption of storage. So other than the previous backup, full backup lang siya, then incremental na lang ginagawa niya. Then before niya paburahin yung previous chain or backup chain, kailangan makagawa muna siya ng panibagong backup chain para ma-delete niya yung previous.
Wait lang ha. Okay, nag-webinar meron, sir. Oh, sir, nabakay ka ng kuan, nabakay.
Yes, ma'am. Then for the
sir, nabakay ka ng kaila na IT na pwede nimo i-refer. Kung naa lang kay kaila ha, kay kung wala okay na po.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry po. Sorry po. Hello, ma'am. So proceed ko na lang po doon sa presentation. Then the last yung backup method is yung reverse incremental, which is daily siya nagawa ng full backup. So ang backup siya, then iiwan niya yung mga changes. So ang downside lang na itong backup method na to is daily kumakain siya ng resources, which means full backup siya ng full backup, then iiwan niya lang yung changes. Then as I discussed for the last part is the licensing for Veeam. Merong licensing si Veeam which is yung perpetual and universal. Under perpetual, meron siyang permanent licensing or per socket basis with basic maintenance support. So applicable lang si perpetual for the virtual environment, so either VMware or Hyper-V. Then ang kinakount ni Veeam is yung per physical processor socket. So as a common user, kadalasan ng mga server is may 2 physical socket. So if yung isa is passive, yung isa active, count as 2 pa rin siya ni Veeam. Then for the universal or subscription based, dito is papasok yung pwedeng 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. Dito is for all workloads na siya. Then sa universal, under na rin niya yung backup ng cloud natin, enterprise, then yung mga physical workloads natin. So sa universal, 1:10 yung mangyayaring licensing sa kanya. So if you have 10 workstation or 10 workloads, meron kang 1 license. So it means kung meron kang isang license, pwede kang mag-backup ng 10 physical servers. Then pag nag-exceed siya sa 10, another license naman siya, which is bundle of 10. While in perpetual, one-time payment lang siya, but for physical environment only. So ang mangyayari naman kay perpetual, once na may bagong version, example is yung basic maintenance support is covered pa siya within the year. Then next year, wala nang basic maintenance support. Then may update 10, hindi na natin mai-update yung previous version natin. Because of wala na siyang basic maintenance support. Then ito yung editions comparison for the perpetual or yung virtual environment only. So meron siyang standard, enterprise, and enterprise plus. Si standard, which is yung basic niya, basic needs like backup and recovery ng mga application natin. Then for the enterprise plus is yung complete features na ni Veeam. Then for the standards, ito lang yung sample na nasa screen, pero yung sa link naman niya is complete. Ito lang yung mga common na ginagamit for backup.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. My name is John Daniel M. Capuno, one of the technical support engineer in WSI, which is handling Veeam. So for my today's agenda is I'm going to present the new version of Veeam, which is the Veeam Availability Suite version 10. So for this new update, basically Veeam enhanced a total of 150 enhancement. But for today's agenda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss the main feature or the most feature that is about to be used on the next or in the future. So let's proceed. So with this new Veeam Availability Suite version 10, so these are the three main features that all the end users is gonna use. So why? So now Veeam added the seriously powerful NAS backup. So for today's for this new update, Veeam minaximize namin or mas nag-focus si Veeam na dun sa NAS environment. And also with multi-VM instant recovery. So before, we can do instant recovery, which is pioneered or patented yung technology na instant VM recovery kay Veeam. So with this new update, in-enhance pa to ni Veeam, na you can do simultaneously recovery of multiple VM. So in just one single pane. So in the next one is the data stays safe, ransomware stays out. So it means the kaya na namin i-protect yung mga data nyo 100% ransomware proof by using the S3 object lock. So what does it mean? So I'm going to discuss it on the next slides. Okay. Next. So the first one is to enhance NAS backup. So we all knew that the NAS challenges, these are the NAS challenges that the customer is dealing with. So alam naman natin na kapag sa NAS environment, sobrang daming files or sobrang laki ng size. So hindi lang terabytes, minsan umaabot pa ng petabytes. So dahil sa sobrang laki or sobrang bilis ng paglaki or pag-expand or pag-growth ng mga data sa mga NAS devices, so our customers, nagkaaroon sila ng problema sa kung paano nila i-keep yun, how to keep it longer, and meron silang nagkakaroon sila ng limited to no oversight on structured data. And inside of those NAS devices, meron tayong mga file size growing, yun yung mga rich media, which is yun yung mga videos or any like architecture file na sobrang laki ng size. So, paano natin ma-overcome to? Paano natin i-organize or i-monitor or paano natin i-backup yung mga malalaking data natin na nasa loob ng NAS devices? So, with this Veeam Availability Suite v10, Veeam overcome the NDMP limitations because before on the previous update, on the 9.5, we can back up NAS, but by doing it through NDMP protocol, and then after that, that is the time that we're going to archive it to the tape library. So with this new update, Veeam already overcome the NDMP limitation like the loosely defined standard and the need for full backup for all backup. So alam naman natin na kapag full backup, sobrang bagal yan. So with this upgrade, we're going to implement our fast incremental methods in the NAS backup. So yung pagba-backup natin sa NAS is mas mabilis. So mas matutulungan natin si end user na i-backup yung mga NAS appliances nila na mas mabilis. And in-overcome din natin yung limitation ni NDMP sa kung paano i-backup and saan i-backup. So alam naman natin si Veeam is software based. So si Veeam is storage agnostic as well. So dahil si Veeam is software siya, so pwede natin siyang integrate sa kahit na anong brand ng storage. So regardless kung naka-Dell si customer or naka-HP siya, pwede natin i-integrate at pwede natin gawin yun as a backup repository. And for seriously powerful NAS backup, so for today, we redefine the NAS data protection for the massive file data by this new update. So let's get to the next slide. So this is how we do the NAS backup with this enhancement NAS backup. So Veeam NAS backup is flexible. So Veeam is known for being simple, reliable, and flexible. So paano si Veeam naging flexible sa pagdating sa NAS environment? So it's because Veeam can cover the SMB from version 1 to 3, and also the network file share from version 3 to 4.1. And not just that, we can also protect the file servers of Windows and Linux. So ganun ka-flexible si Veeam pagdating kay NAS environment. So change file tracking. So this is where the magic happens. So ito yung method ni Veeam para mas mapabilis natin yung incremental. So paano yung ginagawa yung fast incremental method? So as you can see, this diagram, this is a diagram for the whole NAS file share. So example, this is the full NAS file share, and as you can see, file C, file D, it has a parent folder, which is the folder tree, and the folder tree and file A have a parent folder of folder 1. So paano na gumagana yung fast incremental through CFT hash tree? So this is the change file tracking hash tree. So Veeam is going to put a thumb node, as you can see, a thumb mark on every file or on every node of the file. So for example, on the first backup, of course, it is on every first backup, we usually do full backup just to scan the whole NAS file share. But on the next day, we do not need to scan the whole NAS file share again. So, ang gagawin ni Veeam is i-check lang niya o i-detect niya kung anong file ba o saan yung file na merong nabago, and then yun lang yung i-backup natin. So, paano niya ginagawa yun? So, through this CFT, change file tracking, so we're just putting thumb node in every file. So for example, there's a change on the file D. As you can see, it turns in color green. So once na nag-ping yung tab node sa file D, magpiping siya kay folder 3, folder 1, papunta doon sa pinaka-parent folder. So by doing that, mag-detect ni Veeam kung saang part or kung anong file yung nagkameron ng changes. So in that case, pag na-detect nyo na kung saan yung may changes, yun lang yung i-backup natin. So yun yung ginagawa ni Veeam, paano niya mas pinapabilis natin yung incremental. Alright. So next, snapshot friendly. So Veeam is snapshot friendly. So we can leverage Veeam into our storage snapshot. So in that case, no file locks because hindi na natin kailangan galawin yung mismong production data. And point in time, so we can recover on the point na already na backup na natin. So for example, we started backing up like 12 in the midnight until 6 in the morning. And then there's an error or there's a malware attack on, like, for example, at 3 a.m. So we already started 12 in the midnight. So we can recover from 12 to 2 a.m. So kahit saan doon, pwede kang bumalik. Pwede tayo bumalik nung kay 12 p.m., kay 1 or kay 2 a.m. Kasi nangyari siya 3 a.m. So pwede tayong mag-recover point in time kung saan na hindi pa na nagkakameron ng corruption. So next is offload performance. So by using snapshot, we can offload the performance of our production storage. And we have 3 recovery options. So we can recover the entire file share. So for example, the customer's full file share is been corrupted. So we can recover the entire file share just to help them to recover their whole file share. And also point in time. So ito yung just like I said before, we can go back to the point in time na wala pang corrupted or wala pang error. And next is file level recovery. So ito yung for example, si customer is merong na accidentally deleted na file. So we do not need to recover the whole file share. So just the file that was been accidentally deleted. So we can do that. So the next slide. So this is the one that this is my favorite one, the next generation instant recovery engine. So what does it do? So this is the challenges that we're dealing with when it comes to recovery speed. So meeting short recovery time objectives, RTOs, and the traditional restore is slow because it is done in serial, and loss of productivity from massive data center outages. And for migration, of course, when the customer is converting from physical environment to virtual environment. So one of the main problem in migration is when the longer the migration is, so mas open yon sa error or sa more risky yon. So paano natin i-overcome to? So coming with this new availability suite v10, we can recover now anything, any Veeam backup to VMware vSphere. So for example, si customer need niyang migrate from physical to virtual. So with this new update, we can help them to migrate from physical server regardless kung Windows, Linux, AIX, or Solaris, pwede natin siyang i-convert into vSphere. And also from any VM backup. So for example, si customer is naka-Hyper-V and then gusto nilang mag-convert into VMware, we can help them using this next generation instant recovery engine. And also to our cloud VMs and DRN migration. So all of those Veeam backups anything, any Veeam backup, we can recover it instantly in vSphere. So next, data management. So data security and data reuse challenges. So these are the challenges that the customer is dealing with. For data security, ransomware. So they most say that the only cure for ransomware is prevention. So once the company is already breached or compromised by a ransomware attack, so they have to choose between paying or losing data. So when that happens, of course, there's gonna be a brand damage that that would decrease the revenue, the brand revenue. And also for data reusing challenges, so there's a lot of problem when it comes to providing fresh data for data mining and security testing, and dealing with recursion requests for any operations that the company is using. So how are we gonna overcome these challenges? So with this enhanced cloud tier and scale out backup repository, so I'm gonna show you a little diagram. So as you can see on the left part, we have this DAS, NAS, and Hadoop appliance. So these are the different type of storage. So what does this mean? So it means that we can put it on our scale out backup repository. So before I go to more further, performance tier is located on premises, and capacity tier is located off-site or in the cloud. So our capacity tier is compatible with S3 and Amazon S3 with Object Lock, Microsoft Azure or Blob Storage, and IBM Object Storage. So in the performance tier, which is located on premises, so we can do a scale out backup repository. So what is scale out backup repository? So we call it SOBR, scale out backup repository. So it is a collection of storage appliances. So as like I said before, Veeam is storage agnostic. So it means we can collect any brands or any type of storage, even if DAS, NAS, Hadoop, Iskasi. So we can collect or we can make them as one group just to scale out our backup in order for the customer, in order for us to help the customer to save more money, because that is cheap, because they can reuse their old storage appliances, so they do not need to buy a brand new one. So in the performance tier, this is what they do. And so on the on the performance tier, this is where we put the latest version of our data. But on the capacity tier, this is where we put the oldest backups that already been stuck on performance tier. So in the NAS environment, on the NAS challenges, like I said, like I discussed before, they have more challenge or problem when it comes to how to keep it longer. So this is how we do it. So once you already have an oldest backup or an old backup, so you can transfer it to capacity tier, for example, on Amazon S3 with Object Lock. So once we already put our old backup there in Amazon S3, Veeam, we can put immutability by using the technology of Amazon S3, which is the Object Lock. So, anong ibig sabihin? So, kapag nilagyan na natin ng object lock yung data na nandun sa Amazon S3, which is the oldest version of data na meron tayo sa on-prem. So, kapag nilagyan natin ng object lock yung mga data na yon, it means kahit sino, walang pwedeng gumawa or mag-delete or magawa ng changes doon sa mga data na nasa loob ni Amazon S3 na merong object lock. So, it means na protected siya in ransomware, because either ransomware, they can do any damage or changes in the data that is already locked with object lock. All right. So next. So Veeam is has a better backup. So supercharged SAP and Oracle backups. So Veeam can back up SAP database and Oracle databases. So it's like can help the customer to protect those databases using plugin features and more Linux love. So for this new upgrade, for now we can make Linux as a VBR, and we can use also we already have a proxy for Linux in order for us to help customer which has a Linux environment to protect their Linux environment. And with this 3-2-1 let's go, this is like a um, automatic rule with Veeam na magko-commit or magko-comply tayo sa 3-2-1 rule. So, paano siya nangyayari? So, for example, nag-backup tayo ng VM, ng isang VM. So, once na natapos yung backup job na yun, automatic mag-create si Veeam ng um, backup copy papuntang offsite. So, that is what we call copy mode. So, Veeam is automatically creating a backup copy job after the backup job finished. So in that way, we can have a redundancy. So we can help customer to assure that their data is spread out along their environment. All right, and faster recovery. So we can recover anything to vSphere. So any Veeam backup, we can recover it into VMware. And Veeam is also flexible with Oracle recovery. So Veeam is going beyond traditional for Oracle RMAN recovery, because before it is so traditional, but with this new update, now Veeam has a Oracle is capable of using the Veeam Explorer to Oracle RMAN. So Veeam Explorer can do like a search, or they can scan the whole Oracle database of RMAN. And next is the databases are a snap. So Veeam can leverage storage data snapshot. So we can also do granular recovery with our log truncation. Is smarter data. So stay on top of Nutanix AHB. So it means that we can also, Veeam1 can also monitor Nutanix AHB and also NAS environment. So Veeam1 can also monitor Nutanix and NAS environment in this new update. And unleash your data. So we can integrate a third-party application or using enhanced APIs to do a backup copies for data mining and security analysis. And seal your data, save your money. So we can reduce the cost of the cloud by preventing new writes on your storage on your old hardware. So for example, you want to avoid like spending more money. So if the customer, we can help the customer to save their money by preventing new backup job by writing on the storage appliances that they have. So paano nangyari yun? We can, kailangan natin, pwede nating i-help yung customer natin na mag-stop. Pwede nating i-configure na mag-stop na ng paglalagay ng new backup jobs dun sa storage. And hintayin na lang natin na ma-expire yung data bago natin i-transfer sa offsite. So in that way, we can avoid the cloud regress cost by preventing new yards until the data is expired. So with this Veeam Universal License, I think this is already been discussed by Jason a while ago. So I'm going to make a short recap. So Veeam Universal License is a subscription license that you can bought, or that can the customer bought like one license into a pack of 10 workloads. So 10 workloads is a mixture of a virtual, VMware Hyper-V, Nutanix, physical server workstations, cloud enterprise applications, or any file shares. So this is subscription in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. So by the way, so after this presentation, before I proceed, so I'm going to ask a question, and kung sino yung unang makakapag-send ng tamang sagot is makaka-receive ng new Veeam jacket. Alright. So let's proceed. So Veeam Cloud Data Management Summary. So this is the summary of the presentation. So we have a backup application, the console, na doon natin ginagawa lahat. And meron tayong Veeam1, which is a intelligence-driven monitoring na merong alerting and remediation actions. And we can also leverage our data for storage snapshots. And this is all the features that we can configure in one platform to help protect data across cloud, virtual, and physical. So it means we can do all of these things in one platform on one single pane of glass, even if it's cloud, virtual, and physical. All right. So that is my presentation. So if you have any question, you can write it down.